The deadline was probably the same day, and I just made it, and I prayed on the bus going up to New York. If I got it, I would take myself seriously.
Hey, Baltimore. Erin Douglas recently returned to Maryland after 14 years in New York. Though she studied and worked in finance, she eventually found her way to photography. Last summer, a friend offered her a ticket to Nevada's famed Burning Man festival, and she returned this year, using her camera to capture portraits of the Black and Brown community. Fresh from the playa, we discuss her experience, career reinvention, and making friends as an adult in a new city.
No, I actually didn't really start coming around the Baltimore scene. I didn't know what to do until I met Jason officially. Mm-hmm. So I knew him, but then I went to one of his night brunches, and then actually right after I came back from Burning Man, he reached out after I posted some photos, and he's like, "Oh, we need to work together." And so we've been really close friends since then. So I've been able to meet a lot of people. And
are we recording? Awesome. We'll just keep going. Okay. So you met Jason through, I guess, Instagram?
How did I think I went to a few events with a friend that we knew because we both weren't from Baltimore.
Where are you from?
Oh, okay, let me take that back. I'm from Baltimore.
Okay.
Grew up in the Fells, Upper Fells Point area, and then on over to the west side until my family moved out to Fort Meade area.
Okay.
And they're not in the military. It was closer to D.C. And then I moved to New York for 14 years and then came back about 4 years ago.
So I did a little research. You went to Hofstra,
I went to Hofstra.
Is that what took you to New York?
Yes. Took me to New York, lived in Long Island, studied finance, and then got a job before graduating in the city. So I knew I was going to be staying there. And lived the city life my whole entire adult life. So.
And you worked in finance?
I did for a while.
What did you do? That's so foreign to me. So
it's foreign to me now. You have to be more specific. It's been so long. But I was fortunate enough to get a management trainee program. I guess the first semester of my senior year. So I was able to get that out of the way, and knew I had worked with Citigroup, and so it was a good company. And you basically just spend, I think it was 3 months, learning the lay of the land of something that was foreign and becoming what they call an expert at it, and trying your best to implement something if you could, or, just learn. And then you had to do presentations in front of all these VPs, and I was terrified all the time.
Yeah, are you?
Oh, I'm not
Okay. No. I don't know a lot of people that enjoy public speaking.
I would love to. That's a goal of mine. There was a mentor that I gained there, this Black woman VP, and she came. We would have trainings every now and then, and she would blow us. We were so entertained by her that I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up. But and so she would have me come all the way down to her office and practice. So,
are you any more comfortable with it than you were?
No, because I haven't. I got out of finance, and so I never really got a chance to have a role that forced me into it, which I do wish, even though I would have been terrified. So,
when I do it, I don't sleep for weeks thinking about it, and then I get up on stage, and I swear to God, I black out. I don't remember anything, and then usually it's okay. I usually say enough normal stuff that it's fine, but I hate it.
Yeah.
So but now you are officially not at all having to do that, right? Because you are totally photography now.
No, well, I'm trying to get full time.
So I've fast forwarded. So
you're
in New York.
I'm in New York.
You're not in finance anymore.
I got out of around the recession time and everything. Got thrown out like everyone else. I went back and forth in it, and then wound up just kind of jumping around. It was really hard at that time in New York, and I'm sure everywhere else. So I dabbled into everything. But living in New York was probably one of the best experiences, I say. So I always tell people if they're interested in it, they should just take the plunge, even if it's for a short period of time. And then I kind of just felt like I was just existing in this crazy place.
What a millennial thing to say.
Yeah. And so I was like, I think I'm going to move back home. And I mean, to the point where my parents didn't believe me until they came and picked up my stuff.
Oh my gosh.
You know, because they'd been trying to get me to come back. And I was like, no. So I think to leave New York is really hard for people and it's a big step. But I know a lot of people who have. It's just tiring.
That's what I hear. You're going to get burnt out.
Oh, yeah. And you don't notice it at all.
So was there a moment when you knew you had to come back, or was it a slow thing?
Yeah, I think, I had gotten out of a relationship. And I guess I don't know. I just knew if it was on my mind, then it must mean something, because I never, ever once thought I would. And I honestly thought I was only going to be gone for a year. Yeah. So, and I realized, I think, coming home for the holidays, you know, in New York, you just go. And like, I didn't have TV. I barely had a couch sometimes. So I wasn't just laid out. I was always doing something. And I would come home for the holidays and just be like knocked out on my couch and couldn't get up from the TV. And I'd be like, why am I so tired? And then I was just like, oh, it's from living in New York, you know?
That's crazy.
So, so I came back and...
And are your parents still in Fort Meade? Or are they?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you living in Fort Meade?
Yeah, I'm living in Fort Meade. And then, and it's been, I guess, a challenge to meet friends as an adult. But, you know, that's where I'm at. And that's what happened. I last minute decided to apply for emerging artist for Artscape.
Oh, great.
When I came back.
Yeah.
My brother was like, oh, you should just apply. And so I did it. It was like the deadline was probably the same day. And I just made it. And I prayed on the bus going up to New York. If I got it, I would take myself seriously. And then I got it for a photographer.
Wow.
So it's the first kind of time I selling my stuff, and you know, it was a lot of work, but it was pretty cool.
When did you make the switch from, I mean, I guess there was a middle area between finance and photography, but when did photography sort of rise up as the thing you wanted to do?
I don't really know I think I always had it in the back of my mind, but I just never thought about it really. And after I got out of finance, I was always the girl who had the camera, not just in general, since I was younger. So I have so many different old cameras, you know. Yeah. And then people kept asking me, "Oh, what happened to your photography?" Because I would just play around. I only took a class in high school and then one as an elective in college. So there were moments where I had to take some photos of people for a class, but those were the only two. And so, yeah, people kept asking me, and I was just like, oh, maybe I should think about this. And by that time, my film camera was kind of outdated, so I didn't have a digital, and by then digital came in. And so I got it as a gift, and that's when I kind of just started walking around the city.
So did you teach yourself Photoshop? I mean, do you use those tools?
Yeah. You know, I don't use Photoshop as much anymore. I need to. I definitely have a lot more to learn, but I guess I did teach myself. Sometimes I don't really realize that, but in everything, I've seen my work evolve, and
So is photography what took you to Burning Man? Because I have so many questions about Burning Man, which you just returned from.
Yes.
Back from the playa. I don't even see any sand on you. You look nice and clean.
It's still in the crevices, I swear. It doesn't leave you for a minute. No, so I have an amazing friend who I used to run with in New York. And I knew her when she first started going. And when she came back the first time, that was the only thing she spoke about. And since then, I guess this year was her 9th year.
Oh my gosh.
And she is huge, or pretty big, in the fitness industry, but that's like probably in a contract somewhere, like she will be going to Burning Man. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, they have to figure it out. And she gifted me a ticket last year and was like, this is for your birthday. Here's an outfit.
It's a good friend.
Get your flight, and you don't have to worry about anything else, you know, but food and stuff. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going. Like, you finally got me to go. But she's like that. And so, yeah, that's what took me the first time. And I was so nervous about it. So,
what What's the prep like if you're flying across the country? Because you have a lot of shit, right? Like
you
bring everything with you.
Is like, that's one thing. Like if I'm trying to convince someone to go and then you're not even there yet and you're just telling them about the prep and you're sending them a spreadsheet of like all this stuff, it's a lot of work. So I was overwhelmed even this year with my second time. But yeah, it's a lot. I think once you start to get your staples and understand like what you need and what works for you and what you don't need, it gets easier and not having to get all these small things. But yeah, I think I don't realize it until people say, oh, you're from the East Coast, you know? I had friends who drove down from California and they had bins and they brought, you know, this food that they had cooked. And I was like, if you guys are on the East Coast, you would not have been able, like, how would you have gotten all that there? And they're like,
right.
well, we don't know, you know?
It's in Utah, right?
It's in Nevada.
Nevada. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just a lot. And I think last year I put all of my outfits, I already like organized them. I put them in plastic bags so that the other stuff doesn't get dusty. Brought food. I sent boxes. They have a container that we could send it to. So I sent 2 boxes last year. And this year I was like trying not to send that, take that much. So
it's so much work.
It's a lot of work. I think I traveled with my tent in my suitcase this year.
Oh my God. But it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth it in a totally different way than I think most other things are. So
how do you mean?
So I've been talking to a lot of people, interviewing people for my own project on Burning Man. And the first question I ask them is, tell me about your experience. And they all say that's one of the hardest questions I think I've ever been asked. And I understand, but I'm like, but just try, you know? And I was just thinking, like, no one's asked me yet, and I've yet to answer my own questions.
Well, here's your shot.
Yes, I'm going to try to do this. I think it's a culmination of so many things that you rarely are in at the same time anywhere else. So it's like the elements are different. You're in the desert, which can be beautiful, but can be very harsh. And then there's this stuff going around just in terms of how the city is. It's a city. It's a pop-up city. And I got there and I was just like, what is this? Like,
because it's a circle, right?
It's like a horseshoe kind of, but it kind of makes a circle. So it's huge. 70,000 people.
Oh
you don't feel like it. It's not like a regular music festival where everyone is, moving, going to this one concert. It's so spread out. But it's just weird. It's weird.
Sure.
It
seems really weird.
It's very weird. So you're just really trying to figure it out. So your first time, I think it's like overwhelming. Because there's so much going on, then you're in your thoughts a lot about what's going on. And then other things that can, just rev up that you might be suppressing. You're dealing with like dust storms and cold nights. Last year was like 115 degrees during the day.
What?
You're riding your bike all day. And then it's like...
How did you get a bike there?
So luckily my camp has extra ones from the veterans who kind of like get new things. But people sell their bikes. I think Burning Man has like a rental thing, or they sell bikes because thousands of bikes are left at the end of the burn. Probably all the ones people thought they lost and never found, or so. It's a lot of reasons, I guess. But yeah, so it's beautiful. Like a lot of people say, who I've talked to recently, it's like what you wish or you don't realize that the world or the place that you live is like that it should be. And so that's why it's really hard when people return, because you're just hit in the face with all these societal things that...
You've left utopia.
Yeah. And it's just like people say hello, and it's not just a hello. They want to really talk to you. And it's like genuine, and it's meaningful, and they'll invite you in, and they'll, it's just different, and people are happy.
Is there a bartering system?
Nope, it's not bartering.
I heard there was a bartering.
Yeah. I think that's the first word you think of, because it just is not...
Because like there's no money.
No money.
But you can exchange things.
Right. So it's gifting.
Oh, okay.
So it's more giving.
Okay.
So if you wanted wine and you came to my camp, you could just say, hey, do you have any wine? And I would say yes or no. If I had some, I'd say, yeah, sure, do you want some? And that's it. I'm not expecting anything in return.
Gotcha.
Each camp kind of offers something. So be it a TED Talk type of thing, or how to knit something, or, you know, a certain discussion, or they might be a bar. That bar, if you're going to be a bar, you're expected to have enough of whatever you're serving for however many people.
So what did your camp do?
So we offered hip-hop happy hour, because there's not a lot of hip-hop. And my friend's a hip-hop girl. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we just offered it like 4 to 6. People could just come and drink and listen to hip-hop and dance. And
I want to do that right now.
Yeah. It's fun, you know, and it's just like we kind of like dance outside and try to get people to come in. And I think depending on where your location is, so, you know, like it's very organized.
Yes.
And so each camp you have to apply, I believe, and kind of give them
Yeah.
That's a good one. And tell them, I think, what you're going to do, and then you get an address. And
right.
So
this is what makes me feel like I could go, because it's so organized.
Yes.
Because if something happens, you're like, I'm in the corner of whatever and whatever, because they're actually streets, right?
Yeah. And we were at 9 and E, so it's like a clock. So we were at 9 in E, or 8:45 in E. That's where we were. And so depending on where you are, you know, like the street might be more active, so you might get more flow in or not, or you might be next to really like larger camps. Ours was only about 20 people. The one next to us was known for kind of like their bar scene and party scene. So I think they might have been like 50 or 60, but they go up like hundreds of people. Though I don't know if I want to be in one that large, but yeah. So
that is so cool.
Yeah. So we did the happy hour, we did disco brunch, and that's it. And we kind of come and help out. That's it.
So if there's a hip hop happy hour and there isn't a lot of hip hop music, is that a comment on like race, or is that a comment on people's interest in hip hop music?
I think maybe both. So not that people, you know, like me as a black person, I listen to everything, you know. Yeah. So it's not that I would play, but I think it's just so obviously EDM. It's just EDM and house, and that's all you hear. There's different types of EDM. So I found that like, I kind of like this style. I can dance to it more, and this kind of like I can't hear
there
anymore.
Like EDM subgenres.
Yeah, there are. I was like, okay. So yeah, mostly EDM and house and stuff like that is what you're going to find. Funny enough, though, this year I definitely heard a lot more of other things like soul and funk and hip hop, and it was weird because I'm like, it's not like it's black camps playing it. Did people not think that they could play anything else? It was really weird to me.
Just like committed to EDM.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe they just sent a memo out and said you can play other stuff. I don't know, but I did hear more of it, but it's still not a lot. So
yeah.
People come and look for it, and it's obvious that people like to hear other stuff because they're like, oh my gosh, I was at a camp. It was a bar, and it was just like blasting Purple Rain, and it was amazing. It's just like you're at night, and it's the people, and yeah, it was cool.
That's so neat.
Yeah.
What was the craziest thing you saw, or like most unexpected?
That's a hard one because I've been asking people the same question. I don't know if I have one. I didn't. So if you don't know, it's based around art. So people go and build these huge installations. So it's art first, I guess music second. And one was seeing this huge 757 or 47 plane, which was there last year, but I guess they raised enough money to get the other part of it.
Yeah, I think I saw an article about that last year. Yeah,
so they drove it out every day at a certain time. So it's just this huge plane in the desert that you can walk up on and dance on the wings. And
can you go inside?
You can go inside.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think that was cool. There was a project with these drones. I think there was 600 drones that went up in the air that looked like a huge flock of birds heading, wherever they head when they go away. And it was out of nowhere. And we happened to be on the plane when we just saw this amazing thing just rise in the sky. No one knew what it was. And then people were like, I think those might be drones, like 600 of them. That was probably a really cool thing. So nothing crazy, but I do know a lot of people have really like funny things that happen. I think a guy told me, so there's an end. When you walk away from the lights, it's called the trash fence. So you're basically going towards the dark, right? And it's not much stuff out there. But people like going out there, and you can stumble upon random things. People do it on purpose. And he said, I was sitting out there by himself, kind of zoned out, and some guy just biked up to him and said, did you place a pizza order or something like that? And he just looks at him like, yeah, and he goes, oh, thanks for your order, and hands him a whole pizza pie. And this is his first time here. He's by himself. He was like, my mind was blown. He's just like,
it's like my
where
dream.
Does this happen?
Sitting by myself in the quiet, and someone brings me a pizza.
On the playa, like you don't even get pizza. Like you should barely get anything. So he said, I had a whole pizza pie to myself, and he just rides off, and like, I think that's pretty funny. I wouldn't mind being the person that does something quirky like that one day to people.
So what was your agenda with your camera? Because I know you went to photograph, right?
Right. So I went last year, noticed that, or was expected to not see a lot of people of color, but I did.
Why did you expect to not see a lot of people of color?
One, I guess a little bit of the research that I did, you just don't see anyone that comes up on Pinterest or anything. It's just not anyone.
A lot of
there.
white people.
Yeah, which is, not uncommon on Pinterest, but it's just that was all you saw. There's rare to see any. And then I just didn't know any. I happened to get in touch with someone who I knew to talk to beforehand. And, with my hairs and all that stuff, I just was curious. But I did see more than I thought I would. When I came back, I posted photos, and so many people reached out to me. So I knew there was curiosity. They either just didn't know about it at all and was like, what the heck is this crazy looking dusty place? Or they knew about it and really was interested in getting the perspective of someone that looked like them, which I thought was interesting too, because then I was like, that I kind of felt that way too. So I wasn't planning on going, and but this project came to mind, and I figured since it's here now that I should listen. I might not have the opportunity to do it again, and that I would go. But I had to submit a proposal because my idea was to do more than just put it on my Instagram. And so you have to get permission from Burning Man if that is your plan.
It's so respectful.
Yeah, it's they take it seriously, the environment and people, and they just want it to feel authentic and comfortable
right?
for people. So that was my intent, to go down there and kind of focus on people of color and photograph them and get their stories.
So you were like working.
Yeah, so I realized that did affect my Burning Man a little bit. And because I was always kind of like on the lookout. So I noticed that afterwards, but it was still way better than last year. So
because you're used to it, or because
definitely because I knew what to expect. I got over. I think Burning Man is about letting go, so I got over the dust on me, and honestly, being more brown, it's harder to deal with because it's so much more obvious, and so you're just constantly like trying to wipe it off, and it's pointless.
It's futile.
It's pointless. So I just realized you're going to spend a lot of time doing that and not like just taking in things and just forgetting about it. So I, my hands were looking dusty and ashy, which we would call it. And I was like, the fact that I'm talking with my hands and handing you stuff and my hands look like that means a lot.
If everyone else looks like that, like if everyone else is dusty.
I think it's a cultural thing,
okay.
which I realized. Because, some people are just like, oh, I don't notice anything. And I'm like, it's me then, it's us, So just kind of not giving into those things and kind of just being more comfortable. And I think I was a lot more just free. I just felt a little bit more free. I allowed myself to be more free. I'm a lot more.
You were a veteran.
Yeah. I just felt good. And so that on top of meeting so many people, there was definitely a lot more Black and brown people there than I noticed last year. So that was really cool. And I think everyone was, they responded to me really well. And I had this idea. I was like, man, I really want to do a group photo. But, there's no texting, and it's just...
There's no texting?
You're off grid.
Because there's no service.
There's no service.
Okay. I don't know if there's like a rule that they...
Okay. It's almost a rule, actually, because, people somehow can get on their phones sometimes, and you're kind of looked at and like, that's against the rules, you know? So I said, I started to tell people. Someone said, why don't you just come up with a day and time and tell people? But the thought that someone was going to remember by even the end of the day, considering what Burning Man exists of partying and all, I thought, I'll do it, but who knows if anyone will come. And I think I started that on Tuesday or Wednesday, 6:00 at the temple on Friday, I said to people. And if they saw anyone else, to just invite. And as I rode over to it, was probably expecting 0 or maybe 5, and like about 20 people showed up.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I think everyone felt really good. And it wasn't about... I think everyone there, especially as a Black or brown person, pretty unique. I think anyone who goes to Burning Man is unique, hands down. Whether you go again or not, the fact that you were open to it because it's so different, you're pretty cool. And I think being a person of color is even different because it's so outside of what we're known to do or what people are comfortable with or even knowing about. So I think people felt that, and but I think everyone was, I guess, the unique one. They're kind of like outliers, I think that might be what it takes to get more people interested. The people who are the friend that, I'm not surprised they went kind of friend, person, to kind of open the doors and share their stories about why they think it's, something that other people should experience.
So what do you do with these stories and these photos? What's the project?
I am working on hopefully producing a photo exhibit before the end of the year. So I'm just haven't started that part of things, but that's the goal. And then getting it into some publications. So I will have some in the Baltimore Sun, and then Travel Noir, which is website. So far, and just looking for some other outlets, and then working on the photo exhibit. So I'm just calling people, interviewing them, asking them tons of questions. And it's been really interesting to hear everybody's story to the same questions because they're all totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 70,000 people.
Yeah. And it's just, and I think that's why people go every year, because it's different every year. So people who have been 3 or 4 times are like, this was the worst year. This was my best year. This is why I was able to do this, or I had this challenge. I did less of this, did more of that, So that's why I think people are kind of interested in seeing, maybe if I go next year, I would do this differently, and maybe I'll have the opportunity to do this, or I just kind of am curious.
Yeah.
And then also people feel like it's kind of like you reset, even though it's a lot of work. Mentally and spiritually, it's you're just taken to another place that you don't get to be here.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how people. When you come back, you still have to reset from Burning Man. It takes a long time.
A minute, yeah.
It takes a minute. So yeah.
Well, as you've been curating this and you've been returning to Baltimore, what is the art scene? What have you thought of the art scene here? Because you've been away for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I've plunged in it a lot. I think I've met definitely more artsy people and more entrepreneurs, which has been helpful. Just in terms of the conversations you have, different than maybe friends who just aren't thinking that way. So it's challenged me when I have an idea and someone says, "Oh, like how are you going to get it done?" Or, "Oh, I can get you in touch with this person." So it's been nice. But I think I do need to.
I think that observation is really astute too about Baltimore. Where when I think about the group of friends I have, nobody does the same thing,
right?
And it's really helpful to bounce ideas off of each other. I hadn't quite thought of it like that before, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a wide range of friends in all areas, but I just realized I didn't realize, and now realizing that I needed more creatives around me and people who are challenging themselves in a different way, and in the entrepreneurial way and creative way. And it's because it's a grind.
It is.
Yes. So
yeah. Well, are you happy with your move back here? Are you happy to be here?
I don't know if I'll be here for forever, but I think it's been interesting to kind of see it as a grown woman versus when I was younger. And now, luckily, falling into some cool circles, getting to meet people that, I don't know, people probably don't think Baltimore has. I think there's just this thought of what Baltimore is and who lives there. And
did you have those stereotypes as well when you weren't living here?
No. I mean, because I grew up in a diverse area, and as a young person, I was pretty aware of everything going on. So I kind of knew that, the pockets, I knew that it was diverse. I had, 2 young Black doctors who lived next to me, went to Johns Hopkins, So I was able to see that. I was best friends with a 60-year-old white woman when I was in 10. I don't know. And so I was able to see that. And, I saw a lot of different elements. And my great-grandmother was really involved in the city. And so I knew that it wasn't, but I just, coming back, I didn't know who was who or where to go for sure. So I think it has a long way to go, but hopefully, I think things are opening up for other people to see more of.
Yeah, I think so too. You said earlier that it's hard to make friends it was hard maybe at first to make friends because you're an adult. Yeah, but it seems like you've made some.
Yeah.
So, but what was your intro? I mean, what was your first who kind of blew it open for you, and how'd you get there?
Okay, so I came here. There was a girl who was friends with a common friend of mine in New York, and he introduced us, and she was moving from Boston. So we were kind of roll dogs and both just walking around not knowing where to go. And I still wasn't meeting people, and obviously I don't live in the city, so that also makes it a little harder.
Sure.
But then I got really close to Jason Bass, and he's kind of opened the door for me. He knows everyone, so we hang out. He's saying hello to everyone, and he's really good at introducing you, and then doing his events, meeting people and talking to people while I'm photographing has helped. And so I've connected with people just because I start conversations with people at the events. And I think that's mainly been it. So
I know a lot of people have that question because it is weird. When you're a kid, there's so many built-in ways to meet people. And then when you're an adult, I think social media makes a difference. Yeah. For sure. But I know people struggle with that. And I've lived here for so long that not to be I have a lot of friends because I don't really, but I like my little friend group. Yeah. But it's, when you've lived somewhere for a long time, it's really easy to just plug in and you know where to go for your different resources. But if you're a fresh slate, it's kind of hard to get in there. So
I mean, you got to think about it. When you have a girl crew, you're not thinking about the lone girl at the bar might need a friend or that you want somebody else to come in. It's been pretty stable, But for that person, and especially coming from New York, because, I mean, I had so many friends that were core but not core. So I had an amazing running crew that I ran with that we were all really good friends. But I know everyone had their own other cores because we weren't who we grew up with and who we came to the city with. But we became really close, and they were from so many facets of life and everywhere. But it was really easy for that to happen,
Through running.
Through running.
Do you have a running group here? Sorry.
No.
Sorry, I moved away. Yeah. Do you have a running group here?
No, I've thought about starting one.
You should start one.
Yeah.
I will not join it, but you should start one.
I always challenge people when they say that. Mm-hmm. I will get you to run somehow, some way. I promise you.
Okay, well, you have thrown the gauntlet. Let's see.
The fun thing about
if you chase me with like a weapon, I will run.
Okay.
So that might be my motivation.
But then I'll chase you to like a bar.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, see? How quick was that?
Okay, but you have to threaten violence to get it done.
Yeah, but but there's something fun to look forward to.
That's true.
So that's what we did in my group. We kind of, it was this big, like, diverse group of people that just didn't look like they belonged with each other, running in the streets, and then we would chow down someplace, or we would go to a bar, or we would travel. So it was really more lifestyle, like an urban run crew, than just like this very...
How far are you running?
From 3 miles and more. And I will say, when I started, I was not a runner.
Okay.
And there are people who have never ran before, and their first run is 5 miles. And not that they didn't walk some, but it's mental. I hands down all day, it's mental.
Okay. I signed up for a 5K today, actually, so I shouldn't say. I'm going to have my kid in a stroller, so I'm going to walk a lot. But I forgot I did that.
So I say I start one, and we find like a cool location to like start and go to, but that we can have drinks and...
You should run to night brunch.
Jason Bass, yep. He's supposed to help me with this, so.
Okay, well, there you go. We just figured it out.
Yes.
It's awesome. So I know you haven't been here super duper long, but we always ask people for recommendations. Mm-hmm. So do your best. I'm going to ask you 5 different things. Yeah, just some recommendations of for the city. Okay. That was really unclear. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, what? Okay, yes.
I'm really good at being articulate. Okay, so your favorite, well, I don't know, have you been on a date in Baltimore? If so, you don't have, you can answer. Okay, I'll ask that differently.
It's sad.
Where would you want to go on a date?
Let's see. I don't know of a restaurant, but I do like, what's the Italian place on Fleet Street? Tagliata. I do like that place. Just because they have really good food.
Outdoor seating.
Yes. Yeah. But anywhere that just has really good food, and that we can kind of like hop around to places. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy. I like Ecubon. We can go there too. That's my joint.
That corridor, because Ecubon's really close to that. Okay, good answer. Favorite place to grab a drink?
I can only think of Bluebird because I was thinking of going there today.
Great idea.
So that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, perfect. Favorite place to be outside?
Ooh, that one is hard. I would say I feel like I'm always in the same areas. So it's like Mount Vernon or Fells Point. So I wish I knew some other areas, but those are always pretty.
Just wandering.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Just wandering.
Fair enough. Your favorite place? Have you photographed any areas in Baltimore? And if so, what's your favorite?
So, well, I haven't necessarily. No, I have. Kind of near Micah, I've photographed. But my first photography assignment ever, when I took it in high school, I was dancing at Peabody, and so that was really the first place I ever took photos. Was around Mount Vernon and in Peabody, so that counts, I guess.
Yeah, totally counts. Is that 5? No, that was 4. I only wrote down 4.
Oh,
okay. Favorite place to network with Black professionals?
Okay, so that's a good one, and I have to remember this group. So I think Night Brunch is a really good place. There's also another group that gets together. I think it's called the Baltimore Young Professionals, BYP. So they're very much more business focused, and they do like lunch and learns on Saturday. I'm like, if you are actually going on a Saturday morning, afternoon on a beautiful summer day.
You're committed.
Yeah, you're committed. And any men who I'm looking at you, you know. But so I went there one time, and it was really great. It was a different group of people, some that I had seen before, but different group of people that I thought would be cool to kind of like start to mingle with. And the fact that they're really introducing like educational things behind business and
like seminars or
they had like a panel. So every few I think, I don't know if it's once a month that they do, but it's they had it at the Nest when I went, and they had a panel of people of different kind of backgrounds, but all and professional and successful, and they'll have a different topic every time, and it's pretty long, and they have maybe a local person who will make food that you can purchase, and they'll have drinks, and you kind of just listen and ask questions and stuff. So it was really like informative.
Interactive.
Yeah, interactive. And it was, good vibes. So I would say those two. But it took, I just went there maybe a month ago. And it took a long time for me to find anything like that. So the fact that that's a good question, because it was a question I had for a very long time, which, hopefully it will get better. And not that it has to be, I never like all of one thing ever. It would be great to have a mix of people in one place more often than not. And I don't think you see that as much here. So,
yeah. What is next for you?
Ooh. So I am really focusing on this project. And hopefully I can have a show here in Baltimore that I can get a lot of people to. So that's really what I'm focused on. But also just finding new opportunities to work and to build my business and to make it full time before I have to quit it.
Yeah. And you're doing wedding photos now too, right?
I do weddings. Yeah. Yes, it's a acquired taste, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I was not a bridezilla, I'm pretty sure, but there were like moments throughout the day where I could find myself getting stressed.
Very particular, yes.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not particular. What do you say?
Stressed in what way?
Just because I was hosting an event,
right?
So I felt like everything had to.
Right.
Yeah, I felt responsible, and we didn't hire like an official wedding planner. Right. We had a lot of help, of course, but. Yeah. So it just, and I love my wedding photographer, Shane Carpenter. He's amazing. He runs Hex Ferments. Have you had?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. It's amazing. They do like fermented, like kombucha. And,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he and his wife run that.
Yes.
And then Piper, who was she started Station North Tool Library. Have you been there?
No, I haven't been there. You
so
have to
cool.
give me recommendations before I really.
We'll talk after this. So they were my wedding photographers. They're amazing. But, and I really do feel like I was like a normal person.
Okay.
I did get a little stressed.
Okay, that's normal.
Not toward them, but just they saw maybe not my best sides at like a few moments.
Okay, that's normal.
But you must get like really crazy people. Or do you not work with them?
Usually I haven't had as many of my own weddings as I have working with a company. Mm-hmm. So I don't have as much interaction with the couple as I would normally if I booked them myself, which is cool in some senses, but not, because I have no clue who I'm meeting before I get there. Luckily enough, I have better experiences with the actual person or the couple and the group than not. But I think my first wedding with this company was either Ethiopian or Nigerian. It was one or two. They were the first two, and which are huge weddings. It was maybe like 500.
500 people?
Too many people.
That can't. Are you serious?
Yes, so serious. And, so there's a cultural thing. There's different things that they do. And I remember the bride being pissed, and she had tons of bridesmaids who were in all kinds of different personalities. I mean, so they were like, they were telling me what to shoot, showing me photos. And as a photographer, you aren't just a photographer. And that's why I think it's cool to ask for whatever you want, because I've been the makeup artist, the hairstylist, tied shoes, held the bouquet, been the people wrangler, shut everybody out the door, because I'm supposed to photograph the bride, and if she's not in her in good spirits, it's going to show, and she's going to hate how she looks, And so this bride just sat with a straight face, pissed for I don't even know how long. And I didn't even know what to do. It was my first wedding. And finally, when we got to the ceremonies place, I took her into a room and told everyone not to come in, and just said, "Look, you have to, you have to relax."
Yeah.
And
it's a good day.
Yeah,
be happy.
But most people, it's hard to just let things be. Just like things are gonna mess up. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
Or to think you have to do things a certain way. And I find most couples don't get to actually enjoy their weddings. So I always, if people, even if you're not hiring me, I think, or hiring a photographer, I think they're great people to ask questions about weddings.
Yeah.
And what they suggest.
That's a good
stuff.
point, yeah.
Because we are watching everything. And we suggest things because it makes more sense and in the flow of things and what helps the day go better. So it might not be traditional all the times, but it'll allow you to enjoy your day better. So, I've been lucky to not deal with too many bridezillas, but it's tough when you do, or cranky bridesmaids or something like that. So, yeah.
Bitter bridesmaids.
Yeah, something, and it's a lot. So I think the first thing I look at when I get a wedding is how many people are in the bridal party, because I'm like,
is that a good indication?
It's just, what am I going to have to deal with? Is there 16 people?
Were there 16 in the 500-person wedding?
Well, I think in total there might have been 16 bridesmaids and groomsmen.
Oh, okay.
But there have been 12 bridesmaids, and I'm like, the more weddings I do, the less I want for my own wedding when that comes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's a lot of people.
Whoever says they don't want to be in my wedding, it is totally fine.
Right.
The less friends that I have, it's okay that you've gone off to the waste. I'm totally okay with that.
Go in the audience. It's cool.
So yeah. So, but yeah, it's lucrative business. So if you like it a little bit, you can get a few, and then for people who make it their thing, you can do well in it, and you can kind of start to navigate exactly the type of clients you want, and
say no to people.
Say no to people. So
cool. Well, how can people find you? Find you. I just said find you.
You said find me.
I'm tired.
I didn't find.
How can they find you? You are fine.
So my Instagram, which I usually update often, is at a photo chick. So it's a photo PHOTO chick CHICK. Okay. Or my website, which is Erin ERIN dash Shah S as in Sam HA.com.
And what is the Shah?
It's the first three letters of my middle name.
Oh,
Shannon.
I was gonna assume Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool.
that's how you can find me, and that's it.
Erin Douglas, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So I'll have to see you at Burning Man soon.
I'm in. I have, okay, so this is my dream.
Okay.
In a couple of years when our kids are older, I want to go. Can you go for a couple of days? Is that possible?
It is possible. I would not suggest it.
Okay, well, I don't think I'm going to get my husband there for much more than 2 or 3 days. But I want to go for a couple of days and then leave and go to some crazy Utah or Nevada.
A lot of people do that.
Desert resort and swim and do yoga.
A lot of people do that. I would go for 4 days at least.
Okay. I'm good for 4 days. I'll have to have you
talk
to my husband.
Would you ever go by yourself and not with your husband? Would he?
Oh, maybe. I don't even think about that. I'm so codependent.
Think about it. See, because it's so much preparation that it's
I don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, he's like, go do your thing.
Sorry, Rob. See you later. Yeah, I would go by myself.
Yeah.
Or without him. Maybe not by myself.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd talk about it and see, and he'd probably be like, yes, you.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I'm going without him. Thank you for the inspiration.
You can camp with us, and you will be fine. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, 2 days you can't do. I mean, you can. There's people who do it, but I think it's a lot of work to just go for 2 days. And then you either might fall in love with a place that you have to leave so quickly, and you didn't even get to experience it. So
yeah,
just let me know.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to hold you to it.
All right.
See you next year.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks to Erin for recording with us and for bringing up my marital codependency issues. I am 100% in for a hip-hop Burning Man camp experience, with or without you, my husband. Check out Erin's work at erin-shaw.com and keep an eye out for a gallery show in the near future. Hey Baltimore is made possible by the Downtown Partnership and produced by Mike Evitz. If you live or work or visit downtown, check us out on Facebook or Instagram, or head to our site, godowntownbaltimore.com. Our theme music is by Baltimore's own Super City, and I'm your host, Megan Eisenach.